Alright, what is going on, guys? UFC Fight Night Moicano versus Saint Denis has ended yesterday. And I'm going to be making the fights to make after the event. So as you see on the screen here, most of these are winners. We have a couple of losers. And I did want to include Joanderson Brito because me and a lot of people in the community feel that he was robbed of the decision versus William Gomez above him there. So we're probably going to start, we are going to start right here with Aylin Perez. She wins her fight via first round arm triangle. Now, she is ranked, as of now, at 15 at bantamweight. You know, who knows if they'll move her up on Tuesday. But the women's bantamweight division, it's just shit. Like, the only decent fighters in the women's bantamweight division are like the top five. Anyone outside the top five, I mean, even the top five is not really that good. I mean, you have Raquel Pennington as a champion. So, pretty garbage division. Nevertheless, I believe she's on like a 5-fight win streak now. So, we're going to give her a jump up the rankings in competition as far as, I guess, rank-wise. But, you know, again, like 10 through 15 are all pretty, not very good. So, Yana Santos is what I came up with. She's been fighting a long time, not super active. It would be a good step up. I believe she's ranked like number 13 or 12, something like that. Be a good step up in competition, ranking-wise, at least for her. Moving on. Joanderson Brito loses his fight via robbery split decision. Thought he won the fight. He was on a tear before that. I believe it was a 5-fight win streak, 5 or 4-fight win streak. I thought he arguably deserved to fight a top 15 opponent instead of fighting William Gomez. Obviously, that didn't happen. So now it sets him back. He's got that win over Diego Lopez, which is probably his best win. And I think he needs to fight Hakeem Dawodu next. Hakeem Dawodu is on a 2-fight losing streak right now. Been in the UFC a while. I don't think he's going anywhere as far as climbing up the ranks again. I believe at one point he was ranked in the top, like the back half of the top 15 for featherweights. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to climb up the ranks or anything. It would be a solid test for Joanderson Brito. Get through Hakeem Dawodu. They're both, coming off of a loss. So, I think that would be a solid, fun fight, I think Hakeem Dawodu's last fight was that loss to Cub Swanson. So, yeah, that'd be a fun fight. Moving on. William Gomez wins via robbery split decision. Honestly, I wasn't too hyped to put him on here, but I figured if I put Joanderson Brito on here, I need to put William Gomez on here, just because he beat him, obviously. Whether or not I agree with the decision, he did win the fight. But I think he needs a few more wins before he can get that top 15 matchup that he's obviously going to be looking for. And I came up with Chepe Mariscal. Both on winning streaks, both up-and-coming contenders. And let them fight and see which one will continue to move forward. I think, both of these guys, if one of them gets 1 to 2 more wins, then after that, they would be ready to fight a top 15 opponent. At least winning streak-wise. Moving up the card, we have Ludovic Klein. Wins via decision. I believe it was a unanimous decision versus Roosevelt Roberts. He himself is on a good winning streak. And although I thought he was going to absolutely steamroll, no pun intended, Roosevelt Roberts, he is on a good winning streak against decent opposition. And there is someone in the top 15 that I think needs to defend his position. And that is Jalen Turner. So, Jalen Turner has kind of been trading wins and losses. He was on a little tear there for a minute, beating lower-level opposition. Loses to Gamrot, and his last fight he lost to Moicano. Also lost to Dan Hooker. Listen, I think he's ranked number 14 or 15. I think Patty's ranked 15. So I think Jalen Turner's ranked number 14. If he wants to do anything in the lightweight division, he has to be able to beat some of these up-and-coming contenders, which in the past he has done. I think Ludwig Klein has done enough. I think he's on a 5-fight win streak, if I remember correctly. Jalen Turner needs to defend his position in that top 15. And he's on a losing streak. So I think this would be a fun matchup. Jalen Turner obviously has that reach advantage. Just ginormous for the lightweight division. I think it would be a fun fight. Moving on. Firas Zahabi. Brutally KOs. Just absolutely brutally chins Matt Frevola. Honestly, it was kind of sad to watch. I'm not going to lie. And he's kind of in the same spot. Like 1 or 2 more wins. And he's going to be needing to face a top 15 opponent next. There's another guy. Someone inactive. Out injured. Was supposed to fight Drew Dober, if I remember correctly. Pulled out via injury. So, he'll be out for a little bit longer. Fares Ziem just had this fight. So, give him a few months to heal this year. And then maybe come back next year early-ish. And that is Mike Davis. He's got solid grappling. Good on the feet. Exciting fighter to watch. I think this would be a really good matchup. Get one of these guys moving forward in the division. And see if Mike Davis can come back from that injury he's got. And continue to work up the ranks. Now, I know he's not super active. I can't remember if it was a post-fight interview or what. But Mike Davis did say that, he's just good at fighting. That's why he does it. He doesn't really enjoy it. He's just good at it. And that's why he does it for a living. So, we don't know where his headspace is at as far as wanting to move forward or if he just wants to fight, make the most amount of money he can. Anyway, that'd be a banger matchup. Moving on. Brian Battle wins his fight via second round TKO. Great fight. Showed that, maybe not so much in this fight, but he was trying to get the grappling going. Lots of clinch in the first round, trying to get the takedown. Couldn't end up getting the takedown in the first round, but showing his improvement and willingness to engage in the clinch and the grappling and trying to use so. I believe maybe it was the pre-fight press conference or something like that. I saw an interview somewhere where he heavily believes in his grappling and wanting to use it in MMA. And I think unless he's going against an elite grappler, he probably has the grappling advantage over most of these welterweights. He's going on a bit of a tear himself now. And there's another one of these people in the welterweight division that coming off a loss, really think I think he needs to defend his spot. And if he has any hopes at becoming a champion in the UFC, needs to be able to beat up-and-coming contenders like Brian Battle. And this would be a very exciting fight, and that is Michael Venom Page. This would be an exciting fight. Can Brian Battle figure out MVP, his wonky, darting in and out, like kind of Robert Whittaker-esque style, bouncing around? In his last fight, MVP's last fight, he was out-grappled by Ian Gary. Before that, won his UFC debut against Kevin Holland, who was, about towards the end of the rankings of welterweight. I think he was ranked number 12 at the time. And MVP has trickled down since then. This would be a great fight. Can Brian Battle implement his grappling? Because that's the clear path to victory for him. And can MVP get his striking off? Again, if MVP, he said he wants to be a UFC champion. If he wants to be a UFC champion, he needs to be able to defend his position in the top 15 rankings and beat contenders like this. Brian Battle would be a solid opponent, a solid win for MVP. And he's old. I think MVP is 37 years old. So he's really at the tail end of his career. And if he wants to make a run to the title, this would be a great win to get him off and going. Moving on. Brendan Allen gets the shit beat out of him for 2 rounds. Wins the first. What do we do with Brendan Allen? Well, there's a guy in the middleweight division who's just been consistently around that 12 to 8 range, like Brendan Allen is. Well, Brendan Allen's not always been 12 to 8 range, but this guy has. That is Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson coming off that win of Joe Pyfer. It's been a while. I can't remember exactly when he fought last, but it's been a while. I haven't seen anything about him having an injury or anything like that. Now, Brendan Allen did take quite a bit of damage in that fight. You know, he got the shit beat out of him, like, for the second and third round. But, again, you know, if Allen has any want to try and get that belt or get back up to the belt, he needs to build himself up. Hermansson's coming off of a win, so we'll give him a jump up the rankings opportunity to see if he can get through. And, you know, he's got decent grappling. You know, Jack Hermansson got out, it was Roman Dolidze, got him in that calf slicer and shocked the world there. But, well, say that lightly, I guess. But, I think it'd be a good fight. You know, Brendan Allen wants to bounce back, and if Jack Hermansson wants to climb up, you know, he's always just kind of been that, like, gatekeeper of the top 10. So we'll see if he can continue on up the rankings. Moving on, Nasruddin Imavov defeats Brendan Allen via decision. The middleweight division is kind of in a weird position right now. So you have Dricus du Plessis as the champion, just beat Israel Adesanya. You have Sean Strickland wanting a title shot. He's on a one-fight win streak. And if they would have done the fight quickly, I would be okay with that. Because what you have going on is you have Robert Whittaker, Khamzat Chimaev. They're going to fight. The winner of that fight is going to fight for the belt. So if they want to get Sean in there, or like, you know, soon, like January, February, then the winner of Robert Whittaker and Khamzat can fight the winner of Dricus and Sean rematch. But you also have, why did I forget his name? Kyle Borralho. You have Kyle Borralho kind of waiting in the wings, just beat Jerry Cannonier. So you kind of got a lot of movement going on at the top of the middleweight division. And Strickland has, you know, said in the past he wants a title shot, and like he's not fighting anybody. Now, if they give the title shot to someone else, well, I don't think he's gonna wait that long. Like, that'd be kind of stupid for him to just sit and wait and not fight anybody. But, you know, that's his decision. Now, as far as Imavov, he called for a title shot. I don't think he's gonna get it. So what could we do? We could give him Israel Adesanya. This is a winnable fight for Izzy, as well as Imavov. If 5 rounds definitely favors, you know, if they could get it 5 rounds, it would definitely favor Adesanya. Imavov showed he's been 5 rounds before, but he showed to not have the best level of cardio, where Izzy has gone a hard 5 rounds a couple of times. This would be a good fight. If Izzy ever wants to get his belt back, which I don't know if he can, honestly. I think he could beat Dricus. I don't even remember what the scorecard was in that fight. But Dricus is just like a steamroller. He just plows forward. Like, he just goes forward. He doesn't give a shit what you're hitting him with. He's just moving at you. But yeah, this would be a good fight. If Izzy wants to try to get his belt back, he needs to get, I would say, 2 more wins. He gets 2 wins, he can get a title shot. That's kind of how I feel about Strickland. Like, if they were going to do like a rematch faster, then I would understand Strickland getting a title shot after 1 win. And now, Nasruddin Imavov, if he can beat Adesanya, then he definitely deserves a title shot. Anyway, moving on. Benoit Saint Denis gets destroyed in the first round versus Money Moicano. Comes back in the second round, just has more activity than Moicano. Actually, I saw a picture today that, I don't know if it was a shoulder, but some type of bone in his shoulder or area was completely dislocated. So Moicano, I don't know if it happened in the first round, if it happened before the fight. Like, this picture I have of Moicano here, you can kind of see a bump in his shoulder. So I don't know if he was coming into this fight injured, and then it just completely dislocated during the fight, or what. He's on a 2-fight losing streak now. BSD is. I believe he's ranked number 12 currently in the lightweight division. They haven't updated the rankings yet. I'm making this the day after the event happened. What do you do with Benoit Saint Denis? You know, he's going to have to take I would say he's going to need to take at least 2 to 3 months off just to heal. And then he could jump back into training camp, 2 months training camp. I think who he needs to fight next is Paddy Pimblett. And I know, people want to see Renato Moicano and Paddy Pimblett fight. I think Moicano deserves a step up in competition. Up the rankings. Benoit Saint Denis, 2-fight losing streak. I don't know if they're going to, maybe they'll switch it around. Maybe they'll push Paddy up the rankings more and Benoit will go down in the rankings. But assuming that doesn't happen, it's a step up in competition for Paddy. It's clearly a winnable fight for Paddy. The grappling, in the past, BSD has been able to implement his grappling, but it's clear that he can be out-grappled. Especially if Paddy is really good at taking the back, and BSD always seems to be giving up his back constantly. So I think that'd be a really good fight. I would probably pick Paddy to win that fight, even though, BSD has that good power. But, if you throw a kick and then get your back taken, you can't really implement that. So I think that'd be a great fight. Maybe, do they go to the UK in like February or March? That'd be a great fight to put on the main card of a UK pay-per-view. Moving up, the winner of the main event, Renato Money Moicano. Put on an excellent performance, smashed Benoit Saint Denis, won via doctor stoppage. It did need to be stopped. I don't care what people are arguing about. That definitely needed to be stopped. He couldn't see. It was for his safety. Like I was saying earlier, I think Renato Moicano deserves a jump up the rankings drastically. There was 2 options I was floating around in my head. I'll go ahead and tell you the first option, which is not the one I went with for this video. I still think this would be a solid option, though. You could do Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. Be a step up in competition. Beneil Dariush is coming off of 2 TKO losses versus Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. I don't think Dariush is going to be going anywhere as far as title implications. Like, you could have just threw him in there with Islam instead of having him fight Charles Oliveira. Obviously, that's over, So, if he wants to get back in the title picture, he needs to start getting some wins. And Renato Moicano is surging right now. And the reason I picked who I picked is because Moicano is surging in popularity right now. I want to throw him up into the top 5. If he can win, obviously. He did call out Dan Hooker. That is not who I picked, though. I picked Justin Gaethje. Why did I pick Justin Gaethje? It would be an amazing fight. Gaethje always comes to fight. Suffer that brutal KO loss to Max Holloway. Gaethje has come out and said, he's getting that itch to start training again. You could probably do this. I don't know if Gaethje would want to come back as soon as December. I know Moicano said he wanted to get back there as soon as possible. So maybe you could do do it in January, February maybe. Get Moicano a top 5 opponent. And we need to inject some more contenders in that lightweight division for Islam. And I think, Islam just beat Poirier. Everybody has a puncher's chance, but Gaethje's not beating Islam. You have Oliveira. As much as I like Oliveira, and he's getting ready to fight Michael Chandler, I don't think he's going to beat Islam. You have Arman Tsarukyan. I think Islam probably beats him again at the number 1 spot. And then you have Michael Chandler. Even if Michael Chandler beats Charles Oliveira, I don't think you give him a title shot. And you got Dan Hooker there at number 5. I think 1 or 2 more wins and Hooker, you give him a title shot. But you inject Renato Moicano. If he can beat Justin Gaethje, which I would pick him to beat Justin Gaethje, it has shown in the past Justin Gaethje does not do very well against grapplers. Now, could he drop Moicano? Yes, he could. He could drop him and KO him. But, he might be a little hesitant coming off that just absolutely brutal KO loss to Max Holloway at UFC 300. If Moicano gets this fight and he beats Justin Gaethje and Arman Tsarukyan and Islam fight and Islam wins, I think you do Renato Moicano versus Islam Makhachev. That would be an amazing fight. Again, Moicano's 35 years old, tail end of his career. Get him in there. Get him again there with Gaethje. If he gets past Gaethje and Islam gets past Arman, put him in there for a title shot. That would be an amazing build-up. He's got, outside of, Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira, Renato Moicano does have some wrestling. I would say Tsarukyan probably has better wrestling than Renato Moicano, but he's not a complete bum. Like, I'm not saying that Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje are bums when it comes to grappling, because Dustin Poirier did look improved when he fought Islam. But let's give him someone with a little bit more well-rounded skill set, which, he would be getting in Arman Tsarukyan. But if he can get past him, we'll give him Renato Moicano if he can get past Justin Gaethje. I think that'd be an amazing fight. What do you guys think in the comments below about these fights? And do you have any matchups that you would rather have than what I have up on the screen here? Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Leave a like on this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.